moment by moment, He's the one who's making the system of creation to provide that oil to come up from the earth. He's the one who's providing that milk through the cows. He's the one who's providing me everything that I need in order to sustain myself. Then Nabi Ibrahim, he continues, he says, وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينِ. When I'm sick, He is the one who heals me. Now what happens when you get sick? If you get really sick, what do? You're going to go to the doctor, right? Or if you're mildly sick, what are you going to do? You're going to rest, or you're going to take some medicine, right? You're going to pop in a Tylenol or two. You're going to get some, drink a lot of liquids. So these are the things that we do in order for us to heal ourselves. But somebody who wants to understand the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his life or her life, they will think about these things. They'll say that, okay, I'm getting healed by means of drinking this liquid or eating this medicine, or I go to this doctor. But is it the medicine itself that planned this great sort of scheme in order to heal me in this circumstance? Or is it the nature of the creation of the world that makes it possible for me to benefit? You know, as we're there, we're thanking the doctor. I think brothers and sisters, you know that when you get sick, you get a little bit emotional, right? Typically, like, you know, if you're a kid, you'll call on your mom more, right? You'll be like, "Mommy," and you'll just be like a lot more whiny about it. You guys know what I mean, right? And the same thing when you go to the doctor, right? Like, sometimes the doctor, like, just a few words that they say, it really like can make you feel like very special, right? And you're very grateful to the doctor. I'm sure that the doctor can attest to that. That patients, when you give them something, even if you give them a simple thing, like I think you should take Tylenol, even for that they're very grateful because they know that somebody is caring for them. So we have that in us, that when we get healed, it's a very powerful feeling that's created in us of thanks and gratitude, which is great. We should be thankful to the doctor. We should be thankful to the Bayer company for making the aspirin, whatever, or Tylenol. But our true thanks shouldn't be to that medicine or to that doctor. It should be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this requires thought. We're not trained to think like this. We're trained to look at the surface level of things because we don't have time to think deeper than that. We don't have we're not trained to think deeper on these types of things. But we have to, brothers and sisters. We have to understand that no, this medicine was created by somebody who's made the property such that right now, in this time, in this period, it's for me. He is the one who's causing it to have these properties and to heal me. So that's why we're told there's du'as to recite where when you're taking medicine, we remind ourselves that it's not the medicine, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's ultimately going to be the shafi. He's going to be the healer. So this type of thinking, brothers and sisters, it can help us understand that He's the one who heals me when I'm sick. He's also the one who's maintaining my health as well too. I wake up in the morning, I'm feeling healthy, I can jump out of bed. Who knows, maybe there'll be some day when I can't do that. There's a lot of people who couldn't do that today. There's a lot of people who didn't even wake up. That was the last day, last night was the last night for them. So these are opportunities for us to remind ourselves of the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our daily lives. Please recite some more. I just want to give you an example that kind of maybe brings this discussion into one place. Okay, and this example comes from the time of our sixth Imam, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. And it's a very good story. I like this story. It illustrates a lot of different things in one story. What happens is that the Khalifa of the time, his name is Mansur. And Mansur is one of these guys, he's in power, but he's a little bit sort of nervous about his position. And he knows that he doesn't rightfully deserve to be the Khalifa of the time. He knows that obviously the Imam of the time, and he deserves to be the Khalifa. So he's always, kind of nervous about it. And one time somebody comes to him, and he tells him that, that Ja'far as-Sadiq, that Ja'far, the son of Muhammad al-Baqir, he's planning on a revolt. He's planning on doing a revolution. So you got to watch him. You should imprison him or cut off his head or something. So the Khalifa Mansur gets very upset. He summons Imam Sadiq alayhi salam to his court. And he says that I've heard that you're telling people to not give their zakat to me, and you're collecting it for yourselves. And I've heard that the people of Iraq are just ready to revolt against me. And he says, is this true? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that no, this isn't true. I'm not this type of a person to do these type of things. Because that wasn't the plan of the Imam at that time. And he says that, Mansur, he convinces him that that's not his intention. And then he says, oh Mansur, the Khalifa, he says, oh Khalifa, can you tell me, how did you find out this information? So the Khalifa tells him, I found out from such and such, means somebody. Imam says, okay, bring him here, bring him to the court. So now there's three of them at the court. There's the Imam, there's the Khalifa Mansur, and there's that man who was the informant. So the Imam addresses that man. He says that, did you tell the Khalifa that I'm planning a revolution, I'm going to revolt against you? The man says that yes, and I heard you say this. So he's lying right there in front of the Imam. So the Imam says, okay, are you willing to swear on this? Are you willing to take an oath on it? The man says, yes, I'm ready to take an oath on it. And he starts saying the oath. He says, Wallahi alladhi, this is reported in Al-Kafi, among other books. He says, Wallahi alladhi la ilaha illahu, alimul ghaybi wa shahad. He goes on and on with this very long oath, very powerful, like just strings like title after title. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, laqad fa'alta. He says that by Allah, the knower of the unseen and the seen, the most merciful, the most compassionate, indeed you did do this. You did plan this revolution. So Imam looks at him, he says that, he says, woe be to you. You're doing this type of oath. He says, okay, if you're willing to do this oath, don't do it the way that you're saying it. Do it the way that I say. I'm going to teach you. I want you to do an oath the way that I tell you to do it. He says that, say it this way. He says, قُلْ بَرِئَتُ مِنْ حَوْلِ اللَّهِ وَقُوَّتِهِ. I swear that you did this, and if I'm lying, then I declare myself as free and as independent from the might and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning that if what I'm saying is false, then I'm no longer in need of Allah. I don't need His power, I don't need His support anymore. So a man thinks about it and looks at the situation and says, okay, if I, you might have been thinking this, that if I go ahead with this oath, then the Imam, his head will be cut off, he'll be exposed, and then maybe I'll receive a very big position in the court of the Khalifa Mansur. So he goes ahead with it. He says, I swear that if what I'm saying is a lie, then I no longer need God. And the report says that as soon as he said this oath, he fell down and he died. Why did he die, brothers and sisters? Because it is impossible for somebody to exist without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fully there supporting him. We need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all moments of our lives. And the Imam wanted to illustrate this. This person deserved what he got. He was an enemy. He was somebody who stood up and tried to get the Imam of the time killed. But the Imam was also showing an example that it is impossible for us to exist even for a moment without the attention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with us. It's not the case that He created and just left us. He's still there. He's with us at every moment of our lives. So brothers and sisters, practically speaking, if we want to remind ourselves of this, let us use this idea of Allah being the Rabb and take it to our prayers. In the prayer, just count how many times do you mention Allah as your Rabb. Or how many times are we told to do that? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Subhana Rabbiyal Azimi wa bihamdih, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih. In the Qunut we say, so many du'as start with Rabbana atina fid dunya, Rabbana ighfirli wa li walidayya. So many times. The culture of the Imams and the Prophets was to call upon Allah either as Rabb or as Ilah or Allahumma. In these types of terms, they mean different things. So as we're bowing, as we're prostrating, we remind ourselves that every moment of my existence, I need Allah, and He's intimately aware of what's going on with me. His goal in creating me was to take me towards something. So I can depend on Him. I can ask Him for what I need. As I'm bowing at His magnificence, and I know that because He's my Rabbi. I can look back at my life and see how much of a role did He play in my life. We gave some examples, but these are just examples, brothers and sisters. If you think about it, every goodness that's ever come to you, from the time you were, just an infant, even before that, until now, how many amazing things has happened to us? Every one of these was not some random act of the universe, an unintelligent universe. It was the act of our Creator, who is also our Rabb, our Lord, our maintainer, and our sustainer. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the tawfiq to have a deeper understanding of the nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's role in our lives, and that we can take that and act upon it, and then teach it to others as well too. These are